One of the most intense feelings that I've struggled with as a business owner is the feeling of isolation and feeling like this is all on me. There's nobody else that can help me with this. Like, I have to figure it out.
Do you see all your Wayfair stuff is shipping?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, so many people's livelihoods are dependent on Be Still Getaways. At times, it's been a challenging thing to sit with, but it's motivated me. It's given me fire. Like, keep going because you have to. My name is Jamie Stark-Inlow. I'm 32 years old, and I own a property management and design company called Be Still Getaways. We're on track to bring in $3 million for this year.
Damn.
Basically, we are a one-stop shop for someone with a short-term rental that's like, I would like to purchase real estate for a short-term rental, but I don't necessarily want to be in the trenches really at all because it's a whole production.
I thought you started.
Prior to starting Be Still Getaways, I worked in higher education. I was a student program director, and I really enjoyed my work. After getting pregnant and having my son, 9 to 5 definitely was not cohesive to our lives anymore. I was dropping my son off really early at daycare, picking him up late, and I was like, this is just not what I pictured for my life. So my husband and I, we ended up selling our home, moving back to Virginia. We purchased a mini farm in Scottsville, Virginia. Our neighbors had a sheep farm and they had a beautiful barn. And I can't remember why, but I had gone through the home above their barn. It was finished very beautifully. And I was like, this could be an Airbnb. So from there, I wrote a business plan to my neighbor. I asked him to give me $2,000 to furnish the barn. We drove all over the state of Virginia doing Facebook Marketplace pickups. We furnished the barn. I listed it, and then I managed the unit from there. I dove into branding and creating a website. And when I started the barn, I was like, this is it. I want to do property management for short-term rentals. Sales grew so much in the past few years. We certainly have different levels of luxury now that, 2022 brought some really, really upscale properties into our inventory, which was
damn, boy, you see that big ass jump from the first 3 years. But this also goes to show too. I always say this. I say you necessarily don't start becoming profitable depending on the type of business that you get into, right? Depending on the type of businesses that you get into. Typically speaking, if you're starting from scratch, you have to give yourself at least 3 years before you become profitable in the business. But her, depending on if she was able to start with the low barrier of entry, not a lot of money spent, she was able to be profitable in her first year. But then after that shit compounded and she goddamn fuck. Her shit skyrocketed.
It was exciting. So property management obviously comes with a lot of different expenses.
All right, so let's check the P&L.
Definitely the things that we spend the most money on are number one, wages. There are many times that I ran a payroll for staff before I ever paid a dime.
So her wages, $439. So that's the bulk of the expense. Supplies is the second bulk of $113,000. Software, $22,000. Company car, $7,500. So I'm pretty sure they probably just using their car and they just put it in the business. They just write it off. There's a tax write-off. Warehouse rent for probably where they store all of their products. So totaling $587,641 in 2022 expenses.
To myself, and that's how it had to be. And I knew that from the beginning. I was like, I want to instill in my team a company where they feel valued, where they feel paid well, and where they don't want to leave.
Now peep this. I know a lot of people just looking at the side hustle aspect, but look outside the box. look at the person who is owning that building for people to rent out a space to store their products. There's money out this piece, dog. There's a lot of money out here to be made, man. But everybody out here worried about protesting.
Last year, about this time, there was a warehouse opportunity here in the town that I live in. And so we signed a lease, and that absolutely changed our lives. To have a point place where we could ship all supplies, so 120 doors worth of supplies, not to mention all of the outfits that we do. We have about 4,000 square feet, and right now it is completely full of furniture for about 3 different properties, as well as all of our supplies for all of our units, where our inventory coordinator is just able to go, pull what she needs for a unit, and take it to whatever property is running low. I worked for almost 3 years working my higher education job as well as operating Be Still Getaways. So I started matching my salary. I was like, okay, if I'm comfortable for a year where I can pay my salary with Be Still Getaways, then I feel like I can quit my job.
Yeah. And listen, for those of you who have started a business, for those of you who are looking to start a business, who want to be entrepreneurs, understand this. Do not quit your 9-to-5 job. That is the old method. That is the old way that probably the boomers and shit would tell you about. You can still keep your job and build your side hustle until your side hustle then is able to replace your 9-to-5 job. My rule of thumb and what I'm going to be doing is I want to make sure that I'm at least 4x in what I'm making at my 9-to-5 job in order for me to even consider leaving my job. So I'm going to put this out here right now. So when we get even bigger on the Courtney show and the Banter Barter show, right? Well, my crew is making more money than you making at your salary, right? At your salary job, right? I need y'all to understand something. I'm not going to recommend them to leave their job until they're at least making 4x what they're making at their job. 4x of what they're making at their job. Why not? Why jeopardize a bag? Why jeopardize a bag because you're getting one over here? Cool. We're going to accumulate that. We're going to compound that. Bad. We making bread over here. We can pay off debt. We can really get ahead. I can invest my money properly. I can put my money in the right places for my children, for whoever. I can make sure everybody around me is straight because I'm getting the beam out of my own eye first before I start focusing on everybody else outside. I make sure everybody else straight that's around me, that's in my inner environment. Once they're straight, then I can start talking about the people on the outside. So yes, so to get to my point, you have to understand. I don't need to leave my job in order for me to prove to you that I'm making a lot of money. I can still work my 9-to-5 and be making way more doing this than I am at my 9-to-5. But just because I haven't left my 9-to-5 don't mean that somebody's broke. So understand that.
My husband also recently quit his job. He was an educator, and he is actually our full-time lawn maintenance man. So he
you're good.
literally
Hey,
50 hours.
Listen, you're good. You're good. I don't take it personally. You're fine. We're good. No hard feelings. We're good. I don't take a lot of this stuff personally. I know a lot of people going to disagree with me. I know a lot of people going to get emotional about certain things. I understand that. Not tripping, bro. But I appreciate the apology, though. I definitely appreciate the apology. Thank you.
A week, mows grass, which he really enjoys. He listens to podcasts, and this line of work has been very good for him. And he fills in a lot of gaps that we didn't have before. There are still days where I'm like, oh my gosh, what if? Because it's scary. Sure. It's a scary leap, but I'm so glad that I did it. And it was such a relief.
Listen, that's what we have to understand. This is what we have to understand too. It's okay for everybody to disagree with each other. It's cool. Listen, we're not always going to agree. I don't agree a lot with my fellas, you know what I'm saying, with my crew. I don't always agree with J Ben. I don't always agree with Macaroni Tony. I don't always agree with Marcus. I don't always agree with Ashley, right? On the Banter and Barter show. But at the end of the day, it's all love. because we understand we all come from different places. There are some things we're gonna agree on. There are other things that we are gonna disagree on. But we understand we still gotta have respect for each other in order for us to move forward. If we start to then attack each other because we think differently, then it's not conducive for anything, for anybody. It's okay for you to disagree with me. I want you to disagree with me because I don't know everything. I don't. I really don't. I give a lot of things from my perspective and from my experiences in life. So if I'm off on something, cool. Just let me know, like, hey, bro, listen, big dog, I appreciate you, but I think you're wrong here, and here's why you're wrong. Boom, 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 boom. You know what? You're right. My fault. That's on me. I stand corrected. Let me go read up more on that. You know what I'm saying?
Be able to just devote 100% of my time to this company and ultimately continue to scale. Afton is a pretty tiny mountain town known for vineyards and breweries and distilleries. I mean, I picture when this home was built, there was likely close to nothing around.
So let me ask, so they executed that guy and you grift so hard, you still use this to grift. I use what to grift? There were 6 ICE agents beating the, okay, so again, did you not hear anything that I just said? We can disagree. We can agree to disagree. I disagree with you. I said, look at the whole situation. You only looking at that video because he was getting beat up by all these men. Don't matter. Get out the way. I said it before. I shouldn't be talking about this right now because I'm on a different topic, but and you still ain't gave me a matter of fact, forget that. Yup. I'm saying it. You ain't gave me a super chat yet, but you've been getting a lot of visibility right now, bro. Bruh, super chat right now.
And so with Afton Mountain Inn, we've created a very luxury resort experience in Afton, Virginia, which I think is really unique. We renovated all suites. We renovated 7 bathrooms and added an additional one. And we were able to open within 3 months of doing all of these renovations.
You're good, Shadow. You're good, Shadow.
I think our contractor wanted to kill us when we picked 30 different paint colors throughout the entire inn, which is, I think that's the only property we'll ever do that on. So this is our snack bar / coffee room. We call this the cafe. The property owner of Afton Mountain Inn actually suggested, what if we do complimentary ice cream for all of our guests? Have these little Ben & Jerry's tiny pints that we keep in there. And I was like, that is a beautiful suggestion. If you are willing to pay for that, let's absolutely do it. Be Still Getaways obviously experienced an immense amount of growth, even through the pandemic and just over the past couple of years. It was truly like wildfire. We grew, we went from 2 to 10 to 20 to 40 to 60, and that happened so fast.
You were doing just fine, Tissue. Now you're trying to troll.
When we expanded into motels, that was when our team structure really was tested. Now, 2023 has had so many intense challenges. Our original team structure it's not working. Like, we kind of need to tear it all down and start over. That is certainly the hardest part of scaling, is how do you keep your quality? How do you keep your team from being burnt out? How do you hire appropriately and make sure everyone's taken care of as you experience this immense scale? So that has been, I think, the thing I'm the most proud of in 2023. It definitely is my lowest point in business, and feeling like I don't know how to figure this out. I don't know how we're going to do this. And just feeling my staff having so much weight on their shoulders. It was very challenging. And now, sitting here in July, to see us coming out on the other side is a relief. I think my best advice for anyone wanting to get into real estate and property management is that it requires a dive in and a commitment, and being like, this is what I'm going to do. Obviously, one of my...
I ain't going to hold you, man. Shout out to her, bro, for starting that business and scaling it and finding a niche in regards to the real estate world and actually scaling that shit to be a $3 million business. That shit's dope as hell. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. And this always goes back to what I'm going to say. And this always goes back to what I'm always going to continue to say. Bruh, there's money everywhere. You just got to look in the crevice of everything. Look in anything. Boring businesses, laundromats, car washes, window cleaning, power washing. If you want to get into the real estate, you can look at designing short-term rentals like old Shorty is doing. Man, there's so many ways that you just got to open your mind up to actually see the shit and actually, you know what? I can actually scale this and make this something. I don't see a lot of people doing this. Just find the problem and then bring the solution and you'll get paid for it. Find the problem, bring the solution. If you don't want to find the solution and it's already a problem out here, guess what? There are businesses out here that there are a lot of owners that are ready to sell. All you got to do is just go ask the question. Listen, do you want to sell? Have a conversation with them. There are a lot of people that's willing to sell. And no, you don't need millions of dollars. You don't need six figures in order to invest in the business. There are many different ways, many different ways that you can invest in the business without having tons of money. Because that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. But when I do it, I'm going to make sure I document everything. I document everything so I can come back and teach y'all what the fuck I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Because guess what? I'm learning from other people right now. I just ain't going to tell y'all right now what I'm doing. So just letting y'all know. Just letting y'all know when that time comes, just be ready for it.